I want you to ship something complete every single week. This is to you builders and marketers out there who are also tired of having half-finished projects, landing pages, features, requests from your customers piling up. Today I'll introduce you to a scoping rule that helps you to turn just building things into real progress that your users can actually feel. Our last poll revealed that 27% of you said that your main problem is that everything feels half finished. That is just the beginning of the issue. The bigger problem is the following, that most builders and most marketers, they have a big picture in their mind, but they often fail to break it down into shippable pieces that actually gets into the hands of the users. And it really doesn't matter if it's product or marketing. We sometimes work for weeks, months. I've seen people in the co-working space I was living in for 8 years working for years without putting something in the hands of their actual users. That's the real problem. It's not the lack of effort, and I know you have many ideas. It's the lack of complete shipped value. If your feature list grows and you have a someday pile that gets larger and larger, then use the methodology outlined in this article to break it down and say what's going to happen this week that my user actually can see. Let's start with the first poll. So how long does it take you from something in your head, an idea, to real value in your user's hands? Is it just a day, which is absolutely possible these days with AI, to have an idea and show it to your users immediately? Or maybe the more realistic cycle that I have chosen is a week. I tell myself, I can ship in a day, but I'm not allowed to take a month to ship something. I need to scope it down until it's something valuable that I can give them every week, and I'll tell you a little bit below why that is. Or does it take you a month? Yeah, this is the cycle I very often see with dev-oriented teams. They polish and polish and polish, and it takes a month. Then we got these worst case scenarios, usually bigger companies, where it actually takes a quarter to ship something, and nightmare would be a dream. I actually have one feature that I have tried to push through a big company. It took me 3 years, which is absolutely ridiculous. So what is it for me, for you guys? For me, it is 1 week, but I have to force myself to do that, and I have good reasons why. The real cost of not shipping every week is the loss of momentum. Every week where you work and work and work and your users see nothing, there is literally no benefit. You might relay that benefit and tell yourself the user will appreciate the bigger feature, but there is another factor, momentum. Do you know the feeling when you have tried a new tool and you really experience how every week something new and better is showing up, or the existing experience is significantly improved in a way that you can appreciate? This gives these projects something to talk about on a consistent weekly basis, and that keeps up the momentum. We don't have to hustle. I'm absolutely against hustle culture, but these days, giving the vibe coding tools that we have at our disposal, a week is already a pretty long time, and we shouldn't take any longer. Every week you create something that is in the hands of the users. You have something to market about, something really valuable. It's totally fine if you want to hide it maybe behind a feature flag or limit it to beta users, but keep that momentum up with building and communicating the progress you have made on your product, and be proud of it. And you will also feel it for yourself. You'll build trust not only with your users, but also with yourself that you are working on something worthwhile. Let's talk about the scope rule I promised you at the beginning. The rule is simple. If you can't ship a piece of product or marketing this week, then cut it down until you can. You can expand on it later. If you're on this article, then you can see a nice visual of this. On the left-hand side, we got a big pile of chaos, of ideas, of things we want to build, and we have to systemize that through a machine, and organize ourselves until one very clearly scoped piece of value comes out of the other side for the user. And we have to try to restrict ourselves from getting distracted by a lot of the other things we could do, but just focus on this one core thing and build it out. Let's go into the details. Just to be clear, the 1 week is the maximum. If you're vibe coding like me and use tools like Cursor and Cloud Code, you can often ship more frequently than simply a week. But take the week as your upper bounds. The primary goal is still to scope something small, decide, what is it that I'm building, and then shipping that fast into the hands of your users, see how they react, and they'll build something even better. Yeah, this isn't about cutting corners, it's about forcing the right question. What is the smallest complete thing that delivers real value? I recently heard a nice alternative to the word minimal viable product. It is the minimum evolvable product. I heard this on a Y Combinator YouTube channel. And the idea is that you want to build one iteration, that you can build. And then your next thing, next week, is the next iteration of that. It doesn't have to be a full product, a full feature, but something that where your user really feels, they thought about me, this makes a difference, I can give them feedback. This rule creates a very healthy constraint for you, and it eliminates a lot of the half-finished work by design. You cannot just add one more feature if the deadline is Sunday. Isn't the end of the week Friday? I know, maybe for you it's Friday. You have to define that for yourself. You have to look at your week and say, what can I ship? For me, my week ends on Sunday. Your week maybe ends on Friday. Do what you need to do in order to make this sustainable for you. I can already hear some of you saying like, oh, Ben, what if I'm shipping something that just doesn't fit into a week? That's normal. Yeah, just complete what you can and then expand later. There will always be things that are going to be very ambitious. It's our very nature as entrepreneurs. And think about the rhythm like this. You have a big thing, you define something that you can complete within a week, you ship that, you observe, you take notes. How can you expand on that idea and you continue building on that feature next week and maybe even the week after that? The important thing is that each week ends with something done, something your users can actually use. And the next week you can even respond better because you have observed your users' behavior. And this is how your progress compounds over time and you can launch something really big. You stop waiting for like this big launch day. You just keep launching again and again and again. So how do you get that into practice? At the end of all of the Captain's Insights articles, we have our 7-day ship plan. Today it's the scope plan. It gives you a set of 7 prompts that you can use over 7 days or 7 steps in your favorite AI chat like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or even the Pirate Skills Captain. If you haven't unlocked yours yet, it's as simple as clicking on here and voila, it's unlocking. If you haven't signed up for free for Pirate Skills yet, you will have to log in first. But it's all for free. What does it do for you? You bring it into practice by step 1, defining your ship target. Talk to the AI, copy this prompt, explain your project, and here you can still go wild. Yeah, you can even go further in step 2 and say like, what would a complete list of this feature, of this idea that I have, of this marketing approach look like? Again, take the scope, collect all of the important stuff, and then comes the important piece. This is where the discipline comes in. We have to cut scope to fit into your week. You will have to judge how many hours do you have this week, how many weekdays are you available, are you maybe half-time on vacation, do you have a big event that you also have to prepare? Be honest here and have a chat with the AI with the help of this prompt that helps you cut down. Then, of course, you want to build that core and then ship it. Do not miss out on shipping it. Sunday is the last day the last day of the week. I'm willing to ship something, but if it takes until Sunday, it does. I'm happy if it's finished already on Wednesday, Thursday. So I have my weekend for myself, but it needs to ship. Then, number 6, get the user feedback. See how they're interacting with it. I usually wire up some analytics events with this new thing I built, maybe a marketing funnel or a user experience in the product. And I watch how have they reacted, and I actively ask for feedback. And then I allow myself the space to expand. No website, no product, no feature is ever as polished and as finished as you like. So I keep track of ideas on how to expand that. And if that gets back to top priority, I have already an established list on what to do. Giving your mind the space to really expand on what the core of your idea is. But remember, the important thing is shipping something into the hands of the user. All right? If you like this, I would really appreciate it if you shared this with a friend, participate in the poll, and maybe join one of our free growth or build a lab events. Check them out on pirateskills.com. Cheers. Until then, bye-bye. Stop.